All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. I am BMillzebub, and welcome to my channel. For tonight's Apostate interviews, I'm actually doing an interview on time for the first time in a couple of weeks now. Tonight, I've got Christy Santiago. So, Christy, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello to everybody. I am here, freshly showered with very wet conditioner full hair, but I was not going to be late. I was right on time.
And in case it happens again, and it very likely will, do you want to introduce your kitty?
Yes, this is
Or is she left?
Delilah, and she's a queen. She's got the prettiest green eyes. Oh, she's purring so hard right now. Yes, as soon as I sit down right here, she has to be in front of me. So there'll be a lot of times of me trying to not get smacked with her tail, but we'll just keep talking. I'm used to it.
Oh, well, like I said before, we went live. It's all about you learning your place in respect to the cat. So
That's right.
you're gonna have to nail that down because she's the superior.
She is my little princess, Delilah.
So, as I usually do, I want you to go ahead and. I know you don't really use your channel, so either way, why don't you give that a plug and tell us what you usually do on other people's channels, because that's where most of your content goes.
It is. I have a very old laptop that was handed down to me, so I use it once a week when, well, now twice because with you, but normally it's once a week. I guest on Wonder Lady's channel, and it's Wonder Lady with the green avatar. There are two of them, not the other one. And I've been given an opportunity on her channel to speak about whatever I want. I can go way over here, way over there. It's up to me. And that's my favorite part. So I decided that I would do a 20th century history kind of journey through the 20th century. And it's been a lot of fun. I just did number 6 tonight. I also am the second half of a 2-person team on Leah. That's League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. And I do that with Gray Skeptic. It's totally his baby. He's the brains behind it. I'm just along for the amazing ride, which I appreciate so much. And we do that twice a month, every other Friday. Hopefully in the future, we'll be doing a lot more. You can also go to the Leah Facebook group, which is the same, League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. And it's just a look at everyday life, but through humanism. And we are atheists, him and I, but more so, I consider myself a humanist. I care about so much, and atheist just doesn't encompass any of that. It's just the answer to a question. So I love that we get to be a part of this group, and we invite everybody to come be a part of this group. It's a lot of fun. We do look at some topics that are tough, but the good part is we look at them through a humanist viewpoint. What could we do better? Or if we can't really do anything, we could talk about what we think would help the situation, which is a great new way to look at things, especially policies and politics and world events at this point in time. It's nice to look at them through a view of how can I make it better, instead of, we all know, it's fucking crazy. We know that. We're there with you, but what can we do to make it better? So I guess you could say it's a rosy colored glasses that are put on, but I don't think so. I think that we look at it honestly, and as a humanist, I don't look at something that's completely atrocious and think, oh, that's atrocious, I don't want any part of it. I look at it and I feel it, whatever it might be. If it's anguish, if it's fear, And then I talk about it with somebody. And I think that that's where, for myself, I wasn't doing that for years. And it's been the best part of this community, is having people to talk to that have the same or similar views about wanting the world to be a better place. I know that was a lot. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So you mentioned, I completely forgot to put the, I want to say it's a GoFundMe. Is the GoFundMe for getting you a new computer still going?
It is. It is. We have the whole list of all the parts that I would need put together by someone who builds computers, and they're going to do it for almost nothing. So it's a great deal. And I don't know the link to the GoFundMe because purple rhymes with orange is in charge of that. And if Brant was here, he would know it. He's smart like that. And I do have the, I can send you the link to the PayPal, though, afterwards.
Okay,
When
yeah, definitely do that, and I'll put that in the description of the video, along with links to your unused YouTube channel and your Twitter.
Well, I do have, for my own, the Christy Santiago YouTube channel. Before I got active in this community, I've never had a different channel. It's the only one I've ever had. So I have lots of family and my pets on there. So it's not really an activism site, but I mean, it's my cats and my dog and my kids and their school events and, you know, all the nerdy human things that's on there. If I were to start my own activism channel, it would be after I have equipment that could actually do it, not just a stream. That's pretty much all I can do right now on this thing, is a live stream.
All right. All right. Well, why don't you tell us, did you used to be religious before?
Whew, yes, I was.
All right. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what religious belief did you follow?
Well, as a young kid, my mom was very devout, and my stepdad, who my mom was married to and was the father of my brother and sister, was not devout at all. He didn't go to church at all. So I had this competing home life of one way and another, and I'm fortunate for that. And I look back glad that I had that, because I think that I could have gone a completely different way if I didn't even know that there was other ways to live. My mother did vacation Bible school at our house in the summertime. So as soon as the church part of vacation Bible school was over, we'd have a house full of kids of all ages. And my mom was really good at it. She was great with kids, and she was great at teaching the Bible stories in a kid-friendly manner and doing arts and crafts with them, which is really what Vacation Bible School was all about, making macaroni necklaces. And then, let's see, my mom and stepdad split up when I was 10. My mom moved to Florida, and I followed her. When I came to Florida, my mom had found a new church that was similar to the one that we went to as a kid, kind of like a Church of God, considered non-denominational, though I did go to Temple Christian Academy as a private school, which was the same school that Seth Andrews went to. Not the same exact location, but same branch of school, TCA.
Nice.
And they were pretty strict. We learned Bible as truth in school. I was the oddball with the Michael Jackson jacket and the silver socks and the one glove. I was like oddball in my religious school. Moving to Florida, I was at this age where I was 12, or I was 11, 12, didn't know anybody here. So going to a church once a week, that was my friends before I made friends, and I got super involved. For my birthday, wanted this beautiful Bible with my name written on it. Like that's where I was. Bought it. I bought all of it. I would pray with my hands up. I could start crying in the middle of church songs. I just believed every word of it. For years. I think towards the end of high school, I was so busy with other things, like becoming a mom. I became a mom. 3 months before my 18th birthday. So I was pretty busy with other things, and that saved me from the religious not just every week. Saturday, yes. Sunday morning, yes. Sunday evening, yes. Monday, 2 or 3 times a month, but every Wednesday, because that was youth group. And then Friday, and then all summer and summer camps. Yeah, I was there a lot. Becoming the heathen that I am and having a child at a young age out of wedlock put a damper on that. Not that I was going all the time, but I stopped going around that time, and I never really went again. I went for special occasions like an Easter or a Christmas Mass. But I'm fortunate that life got too busy for me. I didn't have room for God or magical thinking anymore. Not at that time. I didn't let go of my magical thinking at all. Not for years, but I just didn't go.
All right. So, I mean, did you just like sort of stop believing with the lack of exposure, or was there like I don't know, certain arguments that pushed you away, or?
I remember thinking as a young mom with 2 kids. My youngest was about 2. My oldest they're 4 years apart, so 6. And I remember thinking that, well, there's no virgin birth, of course, and there's no Noah's flood, of course, but God's still real, and Jesus is still his son somehow, but I won't think about it. Just those miracles didn't happen. They're just stories. They're stories to live by. I totally bought the Bible is, what do they say it is? Book for life lessons or something. Not that it should be taken seriously or literally, but it's a way to live your life. At any of these times, I not ever opened the book and read what was in it. I would open the book as a younger child when the pastor would say, open it to blah, 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 verse blah, blah, blah. I'd open it and we'd read it together as a congregation, and then it would shut. So up until this point in my 20s now as a mom, I still hadn't read the book. Like, opened it up and sat down and read it. Never. But I was married at this time, and my mother-in-law her Bible was with her all the time. She walked around with it. She brought it over when she came to visit the kids. She read it before she went to bed. She read it to my girls when she babysat. And I never thought, please don't do that to my kids. I thought, oh, that's really sweet. I had that when I was growing up. I don't feel like that anymore at all. It's funny looking back at those times and just feeling so at peace with it. Like, I'm doing the right thing. This is good. That's how I was raised. Not that I want to give it to them. I don't necessarily believe in the magic parts of it, but I'm glad she's doing that for them. So crazy. A little bit older, maybe about 5 or 6 years, I remember having a conversation right before my ex-husband and I split up, having this conversation about, well, I'm not a kid anymore, and I don't do this, and I don't do that. And he was saying that maybe we needed to go to church with his mom and spend more time with his, family. I think we kind of both knew that it was going to be ending, but we were in denial. And having the conversation that, no, I don't want to go to church, and I that's not something I think that I ever want to do again. And getting talked into it and going. And as soon as they start singing, I start bawling. And I attributed that to God talking to me instead of who knows what it could have been. Could have been, there's so much human emotion in this room and I'm feeling it. I'm very empathetic. But I wasn't, I thought it was God telling me I needed to come back to him. How funny is that? Yeah. Lots of that type of magical thinking where I don't necessarily believe in the God poofed things into existence, but obviously God's talking to me. That part's okay. That sounds so crazy.
I mean, chances are a lot of people had a fairly similar experience. I mean, I like a few years after I stopped being a practicing Catholic, like I felt a pull to come back to the church, and it was just I guess wanting to come back to some kind of social thing. It's a lot of it is social, and we are social animals as much as many groups of Christians would hate to be called an animal.
Right. Yeah, I remember hearing that. I'm not me saying it, but hearing adults in my life saying, I'm no goddamn animal. I'm a human. Even as a kid going, I remember watching a cow give birth. I was young. I was in single digits. Watching the cow give birth, knowing that my mom was always open and honest with questions we had about reproductive. She just was. So, I'm watching this and I'm remembering my mom explain everything that happens to a human happening to this cow. And then the cow nursing. And that's in my head when I go, oh, humans do that too. I mean, I was 6, maybe, Oh, and I had, at this point at 6, my baby sister had just been born and she was being nursed by my mom. And it just kind of, and we're also learning in school about mammals and reptiles and going, oh, wow, these are mammalian or glands, the same that the cow has. And I guess I just kind of put it all as that's how God made it, so that he obviously the one thing or person. As a kid, God was a person. The one person who created all of it, obviously his style is going to be on everything. As in an artist who painted paintings, they're all going to have that look of that artist. As a kid, it made sense to me that God made all the animals, but we were one. I recognized that we were one, but God did it. Obviously, God did it. Yeah. I was a kid in Sunday school that would ask the questions like, where did all the poop go? Of course it was to get a reaction out of the kids, because poop is funny at all ages.
Oh, yeah.
Especially at age 6 and 7. But I really wanted to know, well, where did all the poop go? Because my mom, we were around horses and dogs and rabbits and animals. They poop. Where did it go? I don't remember what the answer was, but I'm sure it was one of those lift up the rug, sweep stuff under, pat me on the head, and give me a cookie kind of thing. Yeah. It was all very comfy and cozy, the church, when I was little. Very comforting. Mm-hmm. Nothing scary. Nothing like that. Now, when I moved to Florida and was gung-ho, church, that's when I learned. I mean, there's a cultural shock also coming from the Mississippi River area between Illinois and Iowa, where I'm from. Very small town. To Tampa, Florida, which from where I was from, it was a big city, especially at that age. And it was a culture shock. There were kids that were already making out and doing other things that were my age, 11, 12. I was like, oh, so I learned a lot very fast, but I was never demons, things like that. I heard about them. I was scared of them as a little kid, like monsters under the bed, in the closet kind of thing. But I didn't think that demons could do bad things until I moved to Florida. And one of the youth pastors, youth group leaders, was talking about how you have to protect your soul from demons. And I remember being terrified that like something I may do could get me demonified. I don't know. It's so scary. I don't remember holding on to that fear for long periods of time, but I do remember often at night thinking, and Lord, when I'm praying, please protect me from demons. And how silly. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, religion's, it's got some fun stuff in it.
I'm glad we can laugh about it now. Yeah.
Of course, in this case, fun can be synonymous with mentally crippling, lifetime of therapy inducing.
Yes, I think that Recovering from Religion Foundation is, God, what a gift. What a gift to humanity. Because religion really has messed up. I'm fortunate that I don't wake up in the middle of the night sweating, shaking, worried about hell. But people do. People do often. People that have let go of their beliefs decades ago still fear hell. And that boils my blood. It really pisses me off that some fairy tale could have such a resounding negative effect on someone's psyche and their heart. It just bothers me. I want to end that part of religion more than anything, that the harm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a anti-theist, so I pretty much of the opinion that it's really all harmful, or at least more harmful than it does good.
Right.
So I'd like to see all of it go away, but I'm not about to try to, outlaw it.
No.
Because that'll just have, the opposite effect of what I want.
It sure will. I mean, the first thing humans do when you say don't do something is do it. So,
yeah.
Damn humans.
Yeah.
So ornery.
Our ridiculous psychology.
Oh, reverse, yeah. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything religion touches. For me in my life, looking back, there was no one wonderful thing that I can say, yeah, but religion gave me this. But nothing. I can't think of. And maybe it's been so long, and maybe I'm been able to just completely outgrow it. I would have to say, I mean, it's been recent. It was a little over a year ago that I finally let go of like magical thinking altogether. So it wasn't that long ago. But as far as the Bible part of it, I mean, when I first met Stacy, we've been together over 11 years. So, a while ago, because we're old. But when we had those conversations, and also with my daughters involved, saying, no, none of those stories happened. They're stories to live by. But some people do hold them to be true, and we have to respect that. And it's always good to respect people's religions. And it wasn't even long ago, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where I would have said, I don't like how people are being mean to women who wear hijab. I think that they should respect them. That's their religion choice. I mean, I totally feel completely different now. I'm like, no, it's fucking stupid. I understand that they respect it, but I don't have to. I find it subjugating women, and it's bullshit. So now looking back at these, I cringe that I would have been that, I guess what they would call a stereotypical SJW. No, don't hurt their feelings. It's not nice. That's their religion. We must respect it. And for what? For why should I? So if that person thinks that they're a tomato, I should respect it? Like, I don't, has nothing to do with me, and respect. I show respect. I think that respect is something that is is a wonderful part of humanity. I love that we know how to show respect, and we should respect things like education and learning and people's boundaries and consent and children, like things that are not, I don't think that respecting an idea that shouldn't be respected, in my view, is something I would do just to not hurt other people's feelings. With that being said, if that made any sense, I also don't think for myself that going to somebody that was covered head to toe and saying, "You're stupid," and I would never do that. I think that was being counterproductive and make me look completely like an idiot. And nobody should do that. But befriending people that are different from you and letting them know that it's safe to have a conversation with you, and then asking them questions, hard questions, is perfectly fine. And if they, which I have been told by religious people, that I need to respect their beliefs when I just ask simple questions, and that bothers me a lot. But I know that I used to be like that, so that's a tough one. That one is a tough one.
Well, probably a bit of a simpler way to put it would be, I have to respect that you believe this, but I don't have to respect the belief itself. Because
it's hard for them to separate themselves from that belief.
Yeah, it is. And like when I was still a practicing Catholic, it absolutely was a big part of my identity. So
yeah,
it was just one of those things. My identity and being a Catholic, the two were one and the same. There was no difference between the two.
Yes, there are. I know. Yes, they intertwine it into your very being as a child, that I was a Christian child, that I should behave like a Christian girl, that we celebrate Christmas because it's a Christian holiday. Like, oh yeah. We sing these Christmas songs because they're Christian songs. There was a time growing up where my mom was a Christian radio only type of mom. We couldn't say "geez," like "geez," because it was half of Jesus's name in vain. That's a bunch of bullshit. I don't think that's where that came from, Mom. Oh yeah. But at the same time, my mom would also answer any questions we had about sex, reproduction, adult questions, honestly. So it just shows you how religion can take a very rational mom that wanted to be there on our level for us and guide us, fuck that all up. It just really does. It makes you think things that are not true and then fight for them. Yeah, if I look back at conversations I had with people about why I believed what I believed, I just want to go into a closet and close the door. So embarrassing, my answer. Oh, cringe. I have definitely grown up a lot as far as the knowing how to, sorry, I have cat hair in my mouth, think critically about the hard questions. The hard questions are so hard for myself, I feel like, especially in my 20s. I was going through a lot in my 20s. A lot that I never shared. I always kept it inside. And the big questions were so tough that it would just be easier to have an answer that is, instead of finding out why I believe that. That's really sad. It's really sad, actually. But that's what I did. I think religion does that to a lot of people. Makes them just accept things. I won't do that again. I missed out on Delilah. I'm eating your hair. Yeah, I missed out on a lot of learning. A lot of wonder. Don't you find that now? Like, just opening up a science magazine is like, there's so many cool stories in there. And I've always thought that reading science magazines, but it's just different now. There's so much wonder that the fact that we're here is the most magical thing I can ever think of. How we got here. You know, who had to survive for us to be here? And a million, billion, trillion times over. It's insane. Yeah. No religion can ever make me that full of wonder like that. No way.
Oh no, it's I can't think of the whole quote off the top of my head because it's fairly extensive. You know, but it's a Richard Dawkins quote, and he's you know, I'm actually gonna have to look it up because it's a pretty long quote. But I'll do that in a couple of minutes. But so trying to think here because you covered a lot.
I just yap.
No, that's actually a good thing, I think, because
and know, it's you. I'm comfortable. You're BMillzebub. Yeah, I can tell you anything.
Oh, everybody loves me. Come on.
You have to, and if you don't, like, something's wrong with you. Pine Creek. Hi.
Come across a bunch of people. Come across a bunch of people that don't like me, but that's mostly on Twitter.
Well, Twitter could be a dumpster fire all by itself for sure.
But yeah, so I'm curious about you know, how you would approach this, because recently I was in a fight on Twitter with this dude is a Catholic and a creationist at the same time, and my understanding is that the two don't gel, at least not anymore.
Right.
But you know, this dude, he was like he used critical thinking against me and other actual systems of belief, because atheism itself is not a system of belief.
Right.
But he refused to apply it to himself. What do you say to people like that?
It's frustrating, and it really tests my patience. I do have to say, having conversations with people that have different beliefs than myself over this past year have taught me more than I've learned. And I do hair, so I have tons of people in my chair, different people in my chair. I've learned more in this past year talking to people than in the 14 years or whatever I've been doing hair, because you for myself, I have to, instead of wanting to just wait for that break to reply, which is, I'm sure, how I used to reply as a theist, it's listening to what they're saying and trying to, if that was me saying that in their position, how could I help me understand them, and then help the conversation go somewhere and learn something from each other, which is so effing hard. It really is. But for that, I guess, I mean, the outsider test, if they're capable of doing the outsider test for faith, even if it's yours, they can use critical thinking on you, but not themselves. And they can't also, after doing that thought experiment of doing the outsider test, turn it around and do it on theirs and come up with an honest answer. And the honest answer can be as simple as, I've never thought of that. Let me think of it. That's amazing when people say that. But if they can't, I guess the best thing to do would say, I really want to continue this. I want us to be friends, and I want to continue this conversation, but I think that we've hit a spot where you should maybe think about what we've talked about, and I'll think about it too. And then we'll try to pick up where we left off, because they you don't want them to think that you're attacking them personally, even though you know that they're not. I know that they're not. They've never thought of things like this. I mean, I was at a spot where I had never thought of questions like this. And I felt like someone was jumping down my throat talking about it. And I'm sure I was defensive. It's hard when they get defensive. That's a tough one. I guess I would love to see if you have that. Like, is it a recorded conversation?
It's very pretty deep in the mentions, my mentions on Twitter, because this ended like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, no, this Catholic creationist was just a sort of don't want to say he was actually applying critical thinking to me,
right?
And
but just more on you than he would of himself. I get it.
Oh yeah, and as very little as possible directed at himself.
Of course.
But you mentioned earlier that you get more wonder out of reality than you could from any religion, and I brought up a Richard Dawkins quote. I actually found the quote. It's and of course it's going to sound more poetic coming from his voice, but you're going to have to make do with mine. After sleeping through 100 million centuries, we have finally opened our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun, to work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it?
Oh, yes. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. It's, I just sometimes could stare at, I've always been obsessed with the sky. I have a star named after me. Back when I was married, it was a gift that he had bought me from the kids for Mother's Day. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Always been obsessed with the sky. But I have to say it's borderline insane now how obsessed with the sky and how cool it is that we have satellites and I can sit. I mean, it does help that I smoke pot, but I can sit and just ponder the fact that we have effing satellites helping us with GPS. Like we're apes. That's insane. Yeah, the wonder that I have for this planet, for animals, for something as simple as their dew claw. I'll just stare at it and tell them, like Delilah's right here, and I will just tell her, do you know that you're a transitional species, honey? You're gonna be all kinds of stuff. Like, yeah, she doesn't care what I say to her as long as I pet her. Yeah. The world is an amazing, wondrous place, and the fact that I'm here right now just shows all the amazing survival that every species had to do in order for me to be here in this tiny brief time span. This is so cool. And if people want to spend that with war and with fighting and with not helping each other, to me, the biggest realization with all of this reality bombing me in the last, not so much recently, but a year and 12 months ago, how can you know all of this wonderful, wondrous, amazing facts that were here and all the other good stuff and want to spend your time in war and horrible things? And I think about that question a lot. And I think that if children were taught critical thinking and how wondrous this world is as a young age, they wouldn't want to spend their time doing these horrible things. And that's why religion should not be allowed to be taught to children. And then I start thinking, because I'm a human and we have monkey minds and they try to seek patterns and conspiracies, like, that's why they're using religion, so that children don't think about these things when they grow up. Because as a magical thinker, I didn't think about, wow, a lot of things had to happen for me to be right here, right now in this tiny time period. I should spend it doing great things, helping as many people and animals as I can, and try to leave every area that I come to in life better than the way I found it. I didn't think those things until I let go of God's going to take care of it. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe that's just me and I think too much. But,
Well, I mean, like, religious people will often bring up the argument of, I can't think of the actual word, but the argument is that the chances of us being here are so incredibly small that a God must have done it. You know, I mean, the odds should be incredibly small and insurmountable that, you know, I'm here talking to you hundreds of physical miles away.
right.
You know, it should be absolutely impossible, but at this point it's basically guaranteed to have happened because we are doing it. You know.
Right.
So, and to say that the chance of something being so small proves God did it, no, that just means it's a really small chance.
Right.
You know, and miracles by definition are impossible. You know, otherwise it's just low probability.
Magic. It's magic.
Exactly.
Do you remember? I remember actually reading the freaking Bible. I remember this part of, I don't know why I just thought of this. But I remember reading the part in the Gospels, I think it's the last one, where when Jesus is resurrected, the whole town becomes zombie city. Like, they're just coming out of the graves everywhere. Everybody's resurrected. Yeah. And I remember thinking, how did I not know about this? What? How did I not? As a teenager, I would have been like, zombie apocalypse, this is so cool. But maybe that's why they don't teach it. I just thought, wow, this is almost like Jesus fan fiction. Like, it's so far removed from the story I know. Yeah, I really think that all holy books should be taught to students in high school as literature. All of them. Every single one of them. Even ones that we're not in use anymore. Religions that aren't, you know, anywhere near being current era. All of them. Teach all of them.
That'd be a pretty tall order.
Well, what a beautiful gift to give kids. You know, help you understand why certain areas of the world think the way they do. I think that it would, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. Reading different cultures' holy books helps me. Why wouldn't it help other people? Especially a young mind that's trying to understand what they believe. Well, let's show you the different beliefs out there. I am a firm believer in that. Not, well, you're going to believe what your dad believed, because that's what we believe. It's not acceptable for me.
I mean, how amazing is it that every religious person happens to have been brought up in the one true religion?
No, I think about that all the time.
How fantastically fortuitous is that?
Oh, that's a great word. I love the word fortuitous.
I like to try to wiggle it in where I can. You know, I like to try and have a decent vocabulary.
Yes, it's important. It really is. A decent vocabulary is the gift that keeps on giving, especially if you write. You can just write and write and write and write. Even that I do now, as in, like, what a gift that this ape can make these stories in my head while I'm thinking about a grocery list and be writing a story that I'm going to read to my friends in a live stream. Like, the world is so full of wonder. I love that I found a group that agrees with that and also says, yes, let's experience it. I think it's great. And then Stacy and I, we did all this together. Like, she was raised Catholic, very Catholic, so Catholic that when her dad found out she was gay, he took her out of all her sports at school. took away her car. She wasn't allowed to do anything except for go to school and come home. And she also had to go to counseling so that they could fix the gay.
Well, yeah, because if we know anything, gayness is a disease.
And like he might catch it, her dad. So nip that in the butt.
I can almost imagine the conversation with the priest. Father, am I going to catch the gay? Is my daughter going to transmit it to me?
Her grandmother still calls me her friend, Stacy's friend.
Well, you got a friendship with some spectacular benefits.
Yeah, definitely. And we share a bed because it's economically beneficial.
Yes, that's why you do it. It has nothing to do with the sexual and romantic attraction you two have to each other. That's not involved, right?
No, not at all. That would be really gay and sinful.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus, exactly, and Jesus. Yes. That's funny. The whole "What would Jesus do" bracelets. I want to make. How did we have it? Oh yeah, it's WWNCD. What would Noam Chomsky do?
I think that might be a little lost on most people.
Right, but not me, and I want to wear it. It will be my bracelet. And I will say, what will Noam Chomsky do? Every time I'm like, I don't know. What would Noam Chomsky? He's my spirit animal.
Well, it's fair because humans are animals. So, yeah.
Exactly. I could only dream of being as big of a humanist impact. I can't even think of the words to describe how much good that man has done. It's beautiful. Not lost on me. Nacho says he wants one too. That's awesome. Thunder thumbs. What is a thunder thumb? We have some goofballs with that.
What the hell are you talking about, GI? It's only your fault if you don't know how to type, dude. I'm just saying.
Thunder thumbs. It sounds like. I know what thunder thighs are. Are they similar to that? And in what context?
I don't know. I'm still waiting on GI to explain thunder thumbs.
A thumb that can't type on a phone. I like it. Is this Urban Dictionary?
And Smitty says, I would think a lesbian of all people would know about thunder thumbs.
Well, I know about the I love you hand. This, when a lesbian does this, I love you, be like, oh man, because they really do love you.
No.
Yeah, that's funny.
Just gotta love it when my streams get away from me.
Always in the best way, though. And it's probably always GI's fault. I just can't imagine it being.
Yeah. It is GI's fault every time. Snarky and I established this last night.
Oh, Brantley, I only did that to you. Everybody else, cover your eyes. Cover your virgin eyes. Oh, Lord. Right. I don't know. For you, when you kind of had that realization, like, holy shit, this is all a goddamn lie. That's kind of how it happened to me. I'm not assuming that happened to you, but that's how it happened to me. When Stacy got home, I was like, listen to what I found out today when doing research. I read this to her, I read that to her, and then I kept just being like dumbfounded. It's all a goddamn lie. Like, not that I held on to. It'd been years since I thought, virgin birth. None of that. But God, yeah, Jesus, sure. But it was all a goddamn lie. Like, I just was dumbfounded for a week or two. I kept researching, learning more, researching. But that dumbfoundedness floored me for like 2 weeks. Once in a while, I would just be like, Stacy, fucking all lies. Just randomly. Like, I know. It was easier for her to just kind of be like, oh, damn. Because she's very rational. Here's new evidence. Here's stuff to back it up. So she changes her mind. It's that simple for her. That's it. For me, I was just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what? That means the whole world and all the people on Sunday and all the people have to know about this. I just couldn't believe it. And then within 3 months, I can't remember who, somebody had stopped by and said something to Stacy about beliefs, whatnot. And she said, we're atheists. And I remember thinking, she did not. Like, don't speak for yourself. Don't speak for everyone. I just wasn't. It just sounded so, it was easy for her. But it took 3 months from the time I realized, like, it's all lies, to the time where I thought, you know what? I probably am. But then it took another 3 months before I'm obviously an atheist. I don't believe that a God or a Sky Daddy or a Yahweh or other names that sound fun. Yahweh is a fun name to say.
It kind of is.
Yahweh.
But Mark Caesar says that you've given away the secret lesbian sign language. So is it anything like Mormonism where you get your, I don't know, lesbian card taken away? Like they get their Mormon card taken away?
No, you guys are all into the lesbian mafia now?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, buddy. BMillzebub, he's going to be a lieutenant
Awesome.
of the lesbian mafia.
Wow,
your shirt is like perfect. That's how he will settle all disputes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like adults, rock, paper, scissors.
It's fair, and I like fair. I'm down with fair. Rock, paper, scissors is, 3 out, 2 out of 3 every time.
Yep.
You're silly. I'm an evil atheist. What? Yeah, mostly. I do eat babies, though.
We all do. Okay, so it's become more difficult for me to eat babies because the local hospital has figured out what I'm doing. They're not too thrilled about me, stealing a baby and, throwing it on the barbecue and, slow cooking it for 12 hours. They're
delicious.
They're not fans of that. So, they keep an eye out for me. But
that's so funny. Babies are really, really delicious, though. I just love their little cheeks. I literally think in my mind, like, you're so cute, I could eat your face off. But you don't tell random strangers that their baby's so cute, you could eat their face off. So I just told my own that when they were little. Like, I love you so much, I will squeeze your little head off. I remember thinking, I hope nobody thinks I'm really going to do that to my baby. But they are really that cute. Could just chew on their cheeks. Like, I have fur babies now, and if you chew on their cheeks, you eat cat hair for about 2 or 3 hours. Right, Delilah? Yeah. Yeah. Tonight was fun. I had a great night tonight.
Oh, definitely. I'm glad you came. It was a great time.
It was a lot of fun.
I do have one more question for you. Then I'm going to ask you to plug your social media and, whose channels you help out. How do people usually react because you still live in the South, right?
Yes.
Yes. How do people usually react when you say you're an atheist?
I've had a couple surprising interactions, actually. A couple doors down, it's a Spanish couple, very Spanish. She speaks broken English at best. He speaks fluent English, and he's an author. He writes books about poems, lots of poems, and he paints as well. And they're a great couple. They have a great little daughter, and he had asked me what I was doing because I was outside and I was writing, and I told him that I did a thing on YouTube, and he said, "Oh, what kind of thing? I like stuff like that." And so I was like, oh man. So I was like, well, tonight I'm actually touching on, and it was a couple months back when the topic that I researched was the religious right and the libertarian agenda. So I better just be honest. And so I said that, the religious right and the libertarian agenda. And he said, ooh, I might be interested in that, but where are you coming from? And so I didn't understand the question. And I said, well, I'm just coming from, like, I want to know about it. So I researched it, some answer like that. And he goes, no. What side are you coming from? Are you religious or not? And I said, like that, gulp. I said, well, I'm atheist, but I'm coming. He said, good, me too. I can't wait. I'll be there tonight. I was blown away. I just did not expect that. That was awesome. And then another neighbor on the same road here told me that he doesn't believe that the fairy tales in the Bible happened, but he does believe that there's some sort of a deist God and that his wife was an atheist. That blew me away. The only time I've had weird looks are older people older than, 60. And they just kind of look at you. I don't think that many of them understand the word. They think that it means something that it doesn't at all mean. So and if they're a stranger, I'm not about to get into word meanings. So I say non-believer, especially if they're older. And nobody's really had an adverse reaction to non-believer. My mom hates the word atheist. She says, I'm not an atheist. I'll never be an atheist, but I don't believe. So there's that. And I'm like, well, right, that's what that is. But that's not what they think that it means, all these horrible things. So, I don't know. So the older generations, I use the non-believer. And I think that nothing will surprise them now. They have phones that show them their grandchildren when their grandchildren are in Germany. They went from lighting the lamp to have light with fire to having phones that have their family in real time on them.
Yeah.
We have that as our advantage. But I do think that, I don't really go out and do lots of things where I would run into a lot of older people that would have an adverse reaction to me. Not that I go looking for adverse reactions to me.
No, they seem to just sort of find people like us.
Yes, they do. I do get SJ and a few other people that like to comment or leave a message, and I found that I have this, if you don't have anything nice to say, to not say anything at all. And because I know that someone like her could push my buttons, and it would be really easy to let her and then say a whole bunch of things that I would mean, every single word of them, but they would be counterproductive. I just don't say anything at all. I don't reply. I don't acknowledge. I don't accept friendship. And I do with many other theists, many other beliefs, just not people that I know are vile. I'm not saying there's not hope for her. I'm just saying I'm not the hope for her at all.
Yeah, I don't usually have that kind of patience. Patience is in pretty short supply with me. It's never been one of my virtues. And,
Yeah, but
and at
your
32
virtues are
years
being
old, I don't think
adorable.
that'll work.
You're adorable at not having patience as a virtue.
I didn't realize that could be adorable.
You own it. It's your thing. No,
That's
it is
fair.
hard. It is hard. It's hard. I don't know how you do it. I've seen you have conversations. And now, granted, they're in small blocks on Twitter, but
Oh yeah, no,
know
don't be fooled. Like it seems like I'm calmly explaining on Twitter, but
you're
really I'm
pacing.
behind the computer, like half losing my shit, talking about how dumb they are. You know.
Yes. It's very hard. It is. But I do have to see that I do very easily go back to immediately, would I have acted like that? Would I have answered like that? Or in that realm as somebody who held ridiculous beliefs? And if it's, well, yeah, probably or maybe, then I can proceed. But if it's like, I would have never acted like that, they're a goddamn idiot. I can't talk to them. They're just, I don't have a minute to spare for them. The world is too amazing to spend on other things that aren't idiots.
Oh.
Right.
So before I end the live stream, I would like for you to plug your Twitter and your YouTube channel, and again, the people that you usually work with on YouTube.
Okay. Let's see. Mac, which is Gray Skeptic. His channel is Gray Skeptic. I'm sure Notjaw can put that in the chat. Gray Skeptic is an awesome cat. He's a sweet boy. I call him my brother from another mother. I just adore him. He's such a great guy. And then his wife and his two little boys, they're just scrumptious. Like I could eat them. They're so cute. His little boy gets in this chair, and all I can see is his hair sticking up because he's too short, so it's just hair down here, no face, and he likes to talk to me like his dad does, like in an interview with people. So cute. You see him pick up like, no, it's Daddy's turn, but I want to talk to her. So cute. And Mac does his own thing. Check out his channel. Sub to his channel. He's a good guy. He's really horrible at self-promotion and letting people know ahead of time when he's going to have something big and then reminding people an hour before. Yeah, he's not that good at that. So if you sub to him, hit the bell. That's probably the best way you're going to hear from him. And then Leah, Leah. Again, that's Leah, which is League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. There's a Facebook page, a group that you do have to ask permission to get into. And it is for humanists, but you don't have to be an atheist to be in the group. That's not a requirement. But humanism is a requirement. You have to definitely care about humanistic goals for society and policies that we want to see implemented. You know, the best for humanity as humanism. But you can have any belief. And then my personal channel, the one that I'm using right now when I talk and chat, is just like family and cats and my dog and my kids. So, I mean, there's nothing to hide there. And if I was going to do, something on my own, have my own atheist activist channel, I would have to wait until after I get a new machine besides this laptop I'm using. The other thing I do, which I do every single Thursday, is on Wonder Lady's channel. And I am able and free to do whatever I want, to talk about whatever I want in any way I want. So I've chosen to do a crap ton of research on a subject and then write about it and then read it every Thursday. So I don't know if it's a script or if it's an article or if it's an essay. I just have a lot of fun writing about it. And because it's up to me to do whatever I want, however I want, and I can change it each week, that freedom is awesome. So if I were to do my own channel, it would definitely still be something like that because I really like it. And then I also visit people's channels like yours. And I've done Neil, the 604 Atheist. Trying to think. That might have been it. Him and Mac. I have said hi on other people's, but that doesn't matter. And Non-Sec has asked me to do libertarianism and the religious right, which is kind of what I did on that one. There's just so much in it. I haven't had a chance to restructure. I would have to condense it into 30 minutes instead of an hour and 9 minutes, which is what it took me to read it. So I just haven't with the holidays. But eventually, and I'm sure all of you will be there because who isn't subscribed to Non Sequitur Show? Like, seriously, something's wrong with you if you're not.
Oh. All right.
Yay, thank you, No Witness. You're such a sweet, sweet man.
He does try, and for being an imaginary person, because you know Australians don't really exist, he does a pretty good job.
He's my imaginary friend. Wait, he's your imaginary friend too?
Everyone's imaginary friend because he's not real.
Is Nacha Witness Jesus? Confirmed.
He could be. I mean, his hair's long, and you know.
Yep, I knew it. I knew it. Oh yeah, he said Armin. Yeah, I do every Saturday. If you guys want to or are not busy on Saturday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern. Every single Saturday, I'm at Atheist Republic with Armin Navabi. And we have a good time. Him and Jim Majors go over world news, crazy stories. They don't just do these stories because they're crazy. They do these stories because nobody else is talking about them. And they're huge. Death sentences for blasphemy, insane thought crimes. We can't change things like that if people don't know they're going on. And the show that they put on is the kind of stuff I'm into. I don't want to say I'm a politics junkie, but I am a policy junkie. I care deeply about policy. And if the population of countries, the societies inside countries don't start caring about policy, they're going to see their democracies fall away. So it's imperative that people understand what policies are, how they're implemented, how you can change them, and what they actually do for and against you, and actually vote in your own interest instead of against them. Yes.
Be something really nice to see.
Policies are, I mean, 100 times more important than the politician that's in the chair making them happen or not. It's the policies that matter. So there's been, so many different presidents that all have had the same policies when it comes to profits for prisons for profit.
Yeah, those are a crime against humanity.
Absolutely. And I'm smiling about it because it's so absurd that a person could get paid to lock people up. Like, I would feel like at any moment I'm going to get busted and I'm going to go to prison because I'm running this scam where I'm getting paid to lock people up. But it's sanctioned by the government. It's approved by the government. It's paid for by the government. It's a whole nother story. Yeah. Get involved. Learn policy. Policy is important. That's my nerd alert for the day.
I dig it, and I think everyone else here did. But I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Before I close down the broadcast, once again, there is the link to the GoFundMe to get Christy a new computer so she can start her own channel and start making content. And, you know, judging from what I've seen of her on Wonder Lady's channel, she does an absurd amount of research and articulates every one of her points so well that given 3 times the amount of time to do the same thing, I couldn't do it as well.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for coming onto my channel, Christy. I had a great time.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, so that'll do it for this one. Guys, go down to the description box below. Follow her YouTube, follow her Twitter, and refresh the page in a few minutes, giving me a chance to put the link to her GoFundMe in there as well. So, all right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.